Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and within the realm of comic books, it's very easy for things to get a little strange from time to time. But when the Fantastic Four get freaky, well, it's actually pretty amazing. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 times that the Fantastic Four got weird in the best possible way. Number 10. Galactus turns human. Fantastic Four number 520 to 523. Before Galactus was the devourer of worlds, he was a respected scientist called Galen who lived in a reality predating the conventional Marvel universe. When his universe ended, all of that reality's power merged with him, allowing him to survive into the modern universe and turning him into a cosmic being known as Galactus. But in the 4-part story, Rising Storm, the planet-killing Titan loses his power cosmic, reverting him back to his humanoid form. When the Fantastic Four discover his power will inevitably return, Reed Richards reasons his teammates should teach Galen about compassion, hoping that this will convince him to lay off the whole, eating planets thing. But since the former scientist lived in a utopia, he finds human society rather revolting by comparison, stating his sanitation systems were more pleasant. However, he is eventually won over when he sees how hopeful humans are even in the direst of situations. In fact, he was so moved that he banished himself to another dimension to avoid the power cosmic from ever finding him, hoping he would never revert to Galactus again. Even though Galactus is one of the most unusual characters in comics, he seems much more surreal when talking to the Fantastic Four on a human level. Number 9. Marvel writer and artist John Byrne joins the story. Fantastic Four number 262. In the trial of Reed Richards, the leader of the Fantastic Four is arrested by the Galactic Tribunal after Reed spares Galactus his life. Because the Big G can only be sustained by consuming planets, allowing the Devourer of Worlds to live will cause countless civilizations to be destroyed. Therefore, the Watcher, who chronicles everything in the solar system, believes this trial to be so momentous that he feels it requires a person from Earth to record it. Now, of everyone the Watcher could have possibly chosen to chronicle this trial, he hand selects John Byrne, the writer and artist of this very issue. Before the Watcher's arrival, Byrne was in his office at Marvel, complaining to his co-workers how he's struggling to come up with a plot for the latest Fantastic Four issue. When the Watcher appears and makes his proposition to Byrne, the acclaimed author agrees, hoping to transcribe the details of Reed's trial into the comic. Now, meta jokes like this are popular in the Fantastic Four series, but the way that John Byrne is implemented into this story arc is pretty much perfect. Probably the funniest moment of all of this is when the Thing complains to his teammates about how all of Burns' stories suck. Number 8. The Skrulls turn into cows. Fantastic Four number 2. When the shape-shifting aliens known as Skrulls first prepared to take over the world, they deduced that the Fantastic Four would indeed interfere with their plans. As a result, the extraterrestrials disguised themselves as the beloved super team and went on a crime spree in order to incriminate them. When Reed learns of this, he pretends that his team are the Skrulls disguised as the Fantastic Four and enter the aliens' mothership. He then informs the captain that they must abandon their invasion since the world's defenses are too great. As proof of this, Reed shows pictures to the Skrull captain that depict giant ants and rock monsters, pretending that these are creatures of Earth. However, these drawings are actually from the Marvel Comics series Strange Tales and Journey into Mystery. But the Skrulls don't know that and are completely fooled by Reed's scheme and return home. The Fantastic Four then fly back to Earth, prove their innocence to the authorities, and arrest the Skrulls that were impersonating them. Reed then orders the aliens to shapeshift into cows and hypnotizes them so that they forget that they were actually Skrulls. Now, there is a lot of silly stories when it comes to comics, but this might be the only time in history of literature where the villains were defeated by being transformed into cows. Number 7. The Fantastic Four are defeated by Henry Kissinger? Supervillain team-up number 6. After Doctor Doom successfully brokers an alliance with Atlantis, the Fantastic Four break into Castle Doom to stop the Latverian monarch from causing an international incident. As they storm into Doom's home, the Fantastic Four's arch-nemesis commands the Atlantean king Namor to defend his home. Now, while this is going on, Doom is having a political discussion with the US Secretary of State at the time, which was Henry Kissinger. Now, instead of having a civilized conversation, Doom attempts to intimidate the diplomat by showing off laser bombs and spaceships. He even sets off a nuclear bomb in front of Kissinger just to showcase his power. Now, not only is Kissinger unfazed by these displays of power, he's actually eager to see more, imploring Doom to show off his time machine. When the Fantastic Four finally confront Doom, Kissinger explains to the team that he's just agreed to a non-aggression agreement with Latveria. As a result, no Americans can interfere with the nation's internal affairs, forcing the Fantastic Four to take their leave. Now, the Fantastic Four have been defeated several times in the past, but Kissinger is one of the few people to beat the superheroes simply by using good old-fashioned politics. Number 6. The Fantastic Four go ape. Marvel apes. universe. In another universe, there is a world populated by simian-like superheroes like Thorangutang, Iron Mandrill, and Hawkape. Now one day, an ape-like being from the conventional Marvel universe called the Gibbon learns of this reality. He then encourages a scientist called Dr. Fiona Fitzhugh to transport him there, believing that he will fit in better than on his own planet. Although the teleportation is a success, Fitzhugh is accidentally transported to the ape world as well. While Gibbs teams up with the Ape Vengers, Fitzhugh tracks down this world's version of the Fantastic Four, believing that their Reed Richards could help her return to her reality. Now Gibbon is excited to be a superhero at first, but gets turned off the idea once he learns all the Ape Vengers are secretly vampires, because when ape superheroes aren't crazy enough, you have to make them blood-sucking vampires as well, apparently. Although most of the superheroes turn on Gibbon, Reed Richards proves to be one of the few pure primates on this world to stand up against the tyrannical Ape Vengers. Sadly, the Captain Americape slaughters Reed for his defiance. Number 5. Franklin Richards turns Galactus into his herald. Fantastic Four number 604. Due to the cosmic rays that Reed and Sue were exposed to, their son Franklin Richards' DNA was altered at birth, causing him to develop some pretty impressive reality-shaping powers. Even though he had limited control over his abilities, it was implied for years that Franklin was destined to become the most powerful being in the universe. For decades, Fantastic Four fans speculated how the young child would showcase his powers once they fully manifested, and readers finally got to see Franklin's abilities on full display in Fantastic Four number 604. In the story, space deities called the Mad Celestials are preparing to take over the multiverse. Now these entities are so powerful they knocked out the mighty Galactus in a matter of minutes. When all seemed lost, an adult version of Franklin Richards from the future appeared and promised his family he would turn the tide of battle. He then cried out at the top of his lungs, "To me, my Galactus," reviving the Devourer of Worlds with newfound strength, allowing him to destroy the Celestials. Now, considering Galactus is one of the most mighty beings in reality, it was surreal and awe-inspiring to witness Frank commanding him like a lapdog. Number 4. Marvel Zombies, Ultimate Fantastic Four, number 21 to 23. After the Ultimate Universe became a massive success, readers were excited at the prospect of the series doing a crossover with the main Marvel storyline. When the Ultimate Fantastic Four number 20 concludes with Ultimate Reed Richards making contact with Reed from another world, it looked like the two prime universes would indeed collide. But when Ultimate Reed ventured out to this other dimension, he learned every single superhero and supervillain had been turned into zombies. When the zombies ran out of people to eat, the Fantastic Four of this Earth, aka the Frightful Four, tricked Ultimate Reed into entering their dimension so that they could access his world, giving them another 7 billion people to munch on. Against all odds, Ultimate Reed is forced to join forces with one of the only people who hasn't actually been turned, which turned out to be Magneto. Even though this story could have been very, very silly, and indeed in some places it was, this 3-part saga is one of the best stories of the Fantastic Four and the Ultimate Universe. Number 3. They Met God, who was also Jack Kirby. Fantastic Four number 510 to 511. After Doctor Doom murdered the Thing, the remaining Fantastic Three ventured to heaven to retrieve his soul. Immediately after entering heaven, the team are attacked by a myriad of angels armed with flaming swords, and you know what? That's not even the weirdest part. After they escape and run through some Tetris blocks, Reed and the gang track down Ben Grimm and convince him to come home. But before they return to Earth, they meet the one above all, better known to us as God. The Fantastic Four are so baffled by the creator's plain appearance that Sue asks Reed, "Why am I taller than the Almighty?" According to our Lord, he's perceived as an ordinary-looking man because people naturally try to find the humanity within God. What makes this encounter more mind-blowing, though, is how God is drawn to resemble Marvel's co-creator, Jack Kirby. The funniest part of this story is when he gets a phone call from his friend. When Sue asks who God was talking to, he says, "My collaborator, enough said," as a sly nod to Stan Lee. Considering Lee and Kirby founded Marvel and worked on the first 100 issues of the Fantastic Four, this story works as a beautiful love letter to these comic titans. Number 2. Reed created the universe. Fantastic Four number 530 to 532. When Reed discovers that the same cosmic rays that turned his team into the Fantastic Four are approaching Earth's atmosphere once again, he sees this as an opportunity to understand the origin of his powers. As the four fly into space to meet the cosmic rays, they come into contact with a nebulous being called the Entity. The Entity explains that he was from a world where blasphemy is a capital crime. When he discovered the great truth about the universe's creation, revelation, his people dubbed him a heretic since his claim contradicted their beliefs and so sentenced him to death. The entity created the cosmic rays as a way to find others who sought the ultimate truth. After speaking to Reed, the entity believed that he was one of these people and transported him to a void that predated the Big Bang. And while there, the entity explained to Reed that the universe is alive and expands itself to better understand what it is. When Reed said he wanted to know more, his desire triggered the Big Bang, initiating the universe into being. But this breaks my brain because since Reed created reality, this technically makes him God, even though he met God. Ugh, comics are terribly confusing sometimes, aren't they? And number 1, everything that happens in Iron Man/Fantastic Four Big in Japan. While in Tokyo, the Fantastic Four stop kaijus from leveling the city. However, the team discover that the monsters are running away from a far bigger threat, a hatchling called the Apocalypse Beast that will destroy the world once it reaches maturity. Luckily, the Fantastic Four defeat the creature after injecting him with a syringe full of mole people that were created by a subspecies of humans, as you do. That plot summary sounds pretty nuts, but you have to read Big in Japan to truly comprehend the series' utter zaniness. The saga has pretty much everything. We see the Fantastic Four duke it out with minotaurs, giant robots, and an army of fishmen with cow udders. And that's not taking into account how utterly surreal the artwork looks here. Obviously, the whole thing is meant to be tongue-in-cheek, but looking at every character's bulging eyeballs and wacky antics makes the story feel more like the Three Stooges rather than Marvel's First Family. The Fantastic Four are known for embracing the weird, but Big in Japan is one of the times where the creative team strayed massively into goofy territory. And there we go, my friends. Those were the 10 times that the Fantastic Four got weird in the best possible way. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by Instagram at RetroJ with a 0_Insta, where I show off all of my model painting that I've been doing outside of work. It'd be great if you took a look at that. But before I go, just want to say one thing. Hope that you're treating yourself well, my friend. Hope that you're treating yourself with love and respect, because you bloody well deserve those things, alright? You're a massive ledge. Now go out there and smash it. I believe in you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.